What's up, guys? I thought I'd keep it really simple today and just tell you a little bit about my story of sports betting addiction and what I've done to get myself clean. No fancy edits, no dopamine, no anything, just the truth. So my name's Rob. I'm a recovering gambling addict. I made my last bet on November the 12th of 2022, and the way that I got started that day, which was a huge binge gambling session, I got started with a sports bet. In the morning, there was a game on, and I finally got hit with a temptation. Up until this point, I was 9 months clean from gambling, and everything in my life seemed to be going fine. But I was missing something. I was missing a purpose. And for so long in my life, I got my purpose from sports betting, from placing that next bet and proving to myself that I could be a winner, that I could choose correctly. I don't know if you can relate to that, but a lot of my gambling was done out of a sense of competition and a huge sense of ego. I needed to be the one that was the exception to the rule. I needed to beat the house. So that last day, I won my sports bet, but then I felt guilty because I had just taken all that time off gambling. I wanted to immediately get that money out, but there was a delay on the withdrawal. So instead of just waiting for the delay to process, I decided to drive to the casino and try to pick it up at the cage, the cashier's desk, in order to get it out faster. That was an excuse to go and gamble. Now, instead of having 9 months under my belt clean, I had just a couple of hours. And I said, hey, I'm here. What's the harm? And that day, as I mentioned, a big 12-hour binge gambling session, I created enough debt playing casino games, sports betting throughout the day, and playing poker that it took me 6 months working 70 hours a week just to pay it off. That's insane. To cause that much damage in one sitting. I knew that I couldn't keep going back to that. So I had to focus on getting myself clean. And for a while, I thought, it's just going to meetings, it's going to therapy, and then I'll be completely fine. But there's more to it. That's a really vital part of the process. But you need 4 steps to quit gambling. I've talked about it in previous videos, but I'm going to lay the steps out here today so that you can use them to get clean from your sports betting addiction or your gambling addiction. However you found this video, I'm really happy that you're here. If you like what you hear today, smash that subscribe button and join our community. I share what's working for me in my recovery journey in hopes that you don't have to make the same mistakes with your life that I made with mine. The very first thing that you're going to want to do is find alternatives for your time. I can't tell you how difficult this was for me. When I was gambling, I would spend between 6 to 8 hours a day on average gambling. Sometimes more, sometimes less, but mostly more. And so I had all this time in my day where previously I was looking up stats, I was looking at scores, I was watching games, I was gambling on the games. Now I needed to fill all of that time with something else to do. That's not easy. And a lot of people say, oh, just go to the gym. Well, man, yeah, I can go to the gym, but that's 1 hour, maybe two, right? But it's not 8. So I had to really focus on things that I enjoyed that brought some pleasure into my life that weren't dragging me down. And the way that I've been able to fill my day, here's an example of how I would spend 8 hours now. Hour 1, hot yoga. Hour 2, the gym. We'll call hour 3 the gym as well. So 3 hours focusing on my fitness. Then making this content. I've not only made it my full-time job, but it's also a passion that I have now. Sharing what's working for me in hopes that it works for you takes up a lot of time. It's not easy to make these videos. Maybe this one's a little bit easy to make, but for the most part, when it's edited, it takes a good amount of time. So that's another 2 to 3 hours every single day, just making content. Now, that's 6 hours. Now, let's say I have to fill 2 more hours. Netflix. Guys, it's okay to be lazy sometimes. It's okay to loaf around, but if you are watching Netflix, that's much different than being actively gambling. You're still using your mind a little bit. Maybe you turn off your mind, but you're not making your life worse as a result of your hobbies. That's so important. Then I'll go with what all the self-improvement gurus tell you to do. Meditation and journaling. Sounds corny. Sounds like something you're not going to want to actually do. But if you stick to it and you give yourself the space, you can learn so much about yourself. Man, I didn't really have that much self-confidence, even though I projected an aura of having it while I was gambling. Now that I've been journaling all the positive things, all the things that I'm thankful for, my confidence has really been boosted because I have a conscious understanding of how good my life actually is. Your life is good too. You just have to seek out the good rather than being weighed down by the bad. And writing it down, seeing it on paper is one way to do that. Along with that, meditation gives you the space to clear your mind. So often, my mind was just running constantly when I was gambling. Being able to sit for a couple minutes and just breathe, it's difficult. I'm not going to lie, I still struggle with it. But it's a challenge, and it's a challenge that leads to positive outcomes for you rather than negative ones. All right, that was step number 1. Step number 2 is limit your access to the money that's going to tempt you to gamble, to place those sports bets. The way that I did this in the beginning was that I had my family members take control of my bank account. I could no longer log in. I didn't have any card that I could access, and all the numbers had changed. Because I was so tempted to deposit into the sports book that I couldn't trust myself with access to that money. I had to have my family manage the account, and every week they paid me in cash the amount that I would need to live. And sure, it sounds pretty demeaning, and it sucks because you are used to being in control of your own money. You're used to making the decisions, being the bigwig, the big shot. But it's so much weight off your shoulders when you're not tempted by this amount of money sitting in front of you every day. I still struggle with spending, overspending, and budgeting. These are things that I still have to work on a year and a half into my recovery. But I've reached the point now where I've retaken control of my bank account, but there's still that accountability aspect. I still share my login with my family so that they can check up on me anytime that they need. If you're married, you're dating someone, or you're living at home, your mom, dad, guardian, wife, husband, spouse, whoever it may be a great person to help manage the bank account. Don't resent them for it. Trust them. They are there, and they are doing that for your own good. The third thing that you need to do, that I did as well, is limit your access to the sportsbook, to the casino, by doing self-exclusions. It's taking it a step further than just deleting the apps or changing your login. Self-exclusion is telling the casino to voluntarily ban you from play there. So you say, hey, I don't want to play here anymore. Put me on a list where I can't play, I can't log in, can't make a new account. And they legally have to do it. Also, along with that, they can't send you specific marketing materials anymore. It becomes illegal for them to do that. So it's a win-win. You stop having them whisper in your ear with all these deals that are just trying to get your money from you, and you get a little bit of a barrier between you and the casino. It's always going to be there. It's always going to be accessible one way or another. But if you make it more difficult for yourself, that space, that time, that is what you need to make a better decision the next time you get an urge to gamble. And the fourth thing, as I mentioned, is going to a support group meeting. I didn't think that I needed one because I didn't think anyone else out there could relate to what I was going through. But if you've been listening to this video and you're like, damn, he's actually talking about me, it feels like this is exactly what I'm going through, exactly what I need to do, then you need to go to a support group meeting because everyone in that room has these same exact thoughts. And they can share what's working for them in their recovery the way that I just shared my 4 steps. Someone else might have 4 completely different steps that work for them. And that's why it's so important to go in there, bounce ideas off of each other, and share your experience. The same way that you go to a therapist and, you share what's been going on, you can share that with a group of people who have that collective understanding of what a gambling addiction is. It's very important, and we can't do this on our own. Don't take all the pressure onto yourself. Get out there and find a group of people that can understand you and you can trust. As mentioned, it's been a while since I placed my last bet, and every single day, life gets a little bit easier to live. I know that you can keep doing the same, but it's all going to happen one day at a time.